are guilty, the other 3 charges not guilty.
Now, yesterday they deadlocked over the RICO count. And everybody was trying to surmise what was going on in that jury room. We knew that they wanted to finish quickly because the July 4th holiday was just, looming in the background. But apparently they came back from having a night off, and they came back with the verdict. They let the judge know just moments after they got to the courthouse.
Yeah, less than an hour after meeting again today. And the question is going to be now, what will the sentencing be? Now that we know the verdicts, we will hear officially in just a second. We've got those from the New York Times once again, 2 guilty charges. Arthur Chien is ready right now outside the courtroom. Arthur, before we get to the sentencing, which will happen in a bit, tell us what you've learned today about this jury decision.
Well, Kurt, Rosanna, for one, sentencing might not happen right away, right? Both sides are going to file their arguments. Traditionally, they're going to file their arguments with the judge. The defense will say, well, make it minimize the guilty counts on this. The prosecutors will say that's still very serious, and we should show no favoritism. He broke the law. He should get the maximum. So that negotiation has yet to take place, but that process will begin pretty much instantly. We'll also now look out for, you see the scene out here when Mr. Combs' representation comes out, when his lawyers come out, how they talk is going to be important. The client of this type of deep pockets, an appeal is going to be probably something that they're going to discuss, and a lot of times launching that effort begins with the moment they step out of the courtroom in front of cameras. So we got a lot to do here. What we do know is that coming back into today, the judge had been notified, and the court was notified through the judge, that the jurors said they were in agreement on 4 out of 5 counts. That was significant that they had agreement. Now, some people were, well, all the attention was then focused, rightly so, on the 1 count of racketeering, which would carry the heaviest prison time, and the fact that they could not agree. Now, some people characterize it with the word deadlock. It seems a little bit over dramatic. There was the first day of full deliberations yesterday in a case that spanned 2 months, had more than 36 witnesses, was very difficult to navigate. So while some were saying they're deadlocked, it was like maybe they just haven't had the time to agree yet. And it seemed like the judge agreed with that perspective and said, you guys go back in on Wednesday and see if you can work it out. The fact that it took them less than an hour to work it out this morning is very interesting. We're going to try to talk to jurors as they come out, if they're willing to talk to us. We'll see what was in their mind frame, but certainly everybody knows this Friday is 4th of July, and nobody wanted to go there. In a federal courthouse such as this one, they were going to have Thursday off. The judge had said, I don't want the jurors to think about Thursday yet, but if they need to continue deliberations, I'm going to let them come in on Thursday and let that happen. Now, the jurors didn't know that, so maybe they thought Wednesday is a good time. Maybe, right? We'll see. That's one of the things we're going to ask the jurors when they come out here, guys. But certainly quite a momentous moment, but not a surprise. Legal analysts had said there was evidence in there of transportation of the sex workers across state lines. There were credit card purchases. There were flights that people got on. So many people said if there are 2 charges, if there are 2 counts that Mr. Combs was most likely to be found guilty of, it was that transportation charge, and that's what he's been found guilty of here. But the sex trafficking and the racketeering, the fact that he was found not guilty on those are significant. It means the jurors of 8 men and 4 women felt like even with the very intense testimony of people like Cassie Ventura, that maybe they felt these were adults, they had a chance to walk away, but they didn't, much like what was the argument with the Harvey Weinstein case, right? And then finally on the racketeering charge, the jury had to be unanimous in finding 2 of the elements that satisfy a racketeering charge. They include kidnapping, witness tampering, drug distribution. They couldn't just say, well, I think there were these 2, and then the other jurors say, well, I saw those 2, and then say, okay, there was racketeering. They had to agree on which 2, and apparently they were not going to do that, and thus the decision. Guys?
You know what's kind of interesting? The prosecution must be very disappointed. The RICO count obviously would have been putting away Sean Diddy Combs for the rest of his life. Very important count. And then the other 2 that he was found not guilty on, sex trafficking of Jane, sex trafficking of Cassie, those probably would have carried bigger sentences as well for prison. This guilty on transporting people for prostitution, 2 counts. I think the maximum is 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, according to the New York Times, when Diddy heard that, he turned around to his family, gave them like a sign that he was praying, and then pumped his fist.
Well, obviously, one would assume that he's relieved that he's found not guilty on the sentence or charges that would give him a longer sentence. If this holds up, he's still going to prison for a while. You can say the maximum sentence is 10 years. He's already served about 1 because they arrested him in September of last year. So it'll be interesting to see, do they run them concurrently, which means at the same time, or do they make them consecutive, because they can do that with 2 charges, and you can give him, I don't know, 8, 10 years. Now you're talking 16 to 20 if you put them together. So that's going to be something to look forward to look to in the future. But the big news is that the more serious charges, particularly the RICO charge, which would have put him away for life,